Hello, everyone, and welcome to my review of The Boys Season 2, Episode 5, We've Gotta Go Now. This episode was by far the best episode of the season. We have Homelander being his sadistic self by torturing Maeve. We also have Stormfront, who's going around manipulating everybody. But before we get into all of that, if you like what I do, please hit the like and subscribe button, as I will be doing more reviews every week. My reviews have spoilers in them, so just fair warning. But let's jump right in. So we start out with Maeve in a scene where she's looking for a woman called Ruby, and she ends up finding her, and they talk about how Ruby is the real hero because she can live her life as she wants and be open about who she is, and Maeve can't. And then Maeve comes out and says she's gay and that it's okay to be gay. This is really kind of making fun of Hollywood coming out and telling everybody that it's okay to be gay now, like they're the first people to do it. So it's really kind of a good scene. And then she goes and confronts Homelander, who was watching the scene over and over again. And he's just like, oh, it's such a great scene, huh? And she's like, look, when are you going to stop torturing me? This has gone on long enough. What do I got to do to get you to stop? Do I got to stop seeing Elena? And he's like, no, why would I ever let you stop seeing your girlfriend? He's like, you're two happy lesbians, and why would I let you give that up? Not being subtle at all, and talking about basically how he's going to torture her for as long as he can about it, because that's just the type of person he is. And then we cut to Ashley coming in, his assistant, and confronting him about. Sorry, I'm looking down at my notes as I'm going along, and confronts him over a video that's gone viral, where Homelander laser beams a terrorist, and also kills a innocent kid. And Homelander is like, so what? He's like, look, I didn't need permission for this, and she's like, well, you did need to have permission for this. And he's like, well, look, I'll just schedule a conference and I'll take care of it. And and she says, no, the company's going to take care of it, you just sit tight and do absolutely nothing. Homelander's super furious about it, and he basically is just not remorseful. He doesn't care that he killed an innocent person. His ratings dropped 9 points, and he's freaking out about that. So that is a reflection of how the world views superheroes, by point system. It's really kind of cool how they do it, and your popularity and everything's based off of numbers. So that's really kind of cool. But then we go to Billy Butcher, who's in a bar getting drunk, and he starts a fight and kicks this guy's butt, and then the mob jumps him and beats him up. So after the fight's done and over with, he goes to a convenience store, and Huey calls him, and he tells him that Liberty is Stormfront, and that she probably murdered Rainier. So they want his help to come back, and Butcher tells him no. He's planning on dropping off the grid and going maybe for an earlier retirement in Argentina. And then tells Huey goodbye. And in the background, Huey hears a dog toy, that Butcher's squeaking. So then we cut to Butcher going to his Aunt Judy's house, and they start, he shows up and they start talking, and then his aunt says, why don't we give your mom a ring? And he says, no, I don't want to talk to her or my dad. And Judy is telling Butcher about his dad's cancer spreading, and he says, oh, well, so what? It's not spreading fast enough because he's not dead. So you can see that Butcher hasn't really had a good family life in that part. And then we cut to A-Train, who's talking to the director of the Dawn of the Seven and telling him he doesn't want to do the lines that are written for him, so he rewrote the lines because he wants to keep it open-ended about him leaving to, to say, well, did I leave or did I just take off and I'm going to come back? Because he's still trying to stay into in the Seven, and they're not having it. And the director says, oh, well, no, we're going to stick to the script. If you don't like it, go talk to the higher-ups because it's above my pay grade. So, he goes off, and then we cut to the Deep appearing on a TV show with his new wife, Cassandra. And they're being interviewed, and he gets asked about being part of the Church of the Collective and his past. So they try to, they try to gloss over that a little bit, and the Deep's like, oh, no, yes, we are, but, we love each other and things, and they're just kind of avoiding the questions, So they cut from that to Frenchie following Kimiko, and she's going around to different places, and she goes into a liquor store and kills 3 guys. I mean, brutally kills 3 guys. This was a great scene. She tears the face off of one of the guys, breaks this guy's neck and his chest, apparently, and then smashes the gun into the third one's eye and then just walks out. And Frenchie comes in and sees all the carnage and is like, what the heck is going on? So he keeps following her. And then they go into a church, and Frenchie sees her Kimiko sit next to, sorry, I'm just trying to find the name. Sherry, who was in the 3rd episode, I believe it was. I can't remember now. But he was the one that he went and saw, the girl he went and saw after he tried to kiss Kimiko. And she's the go-between for Kimiko doing hits. So she's giving Kimiko a piece of paper, and Frenchie's like, no, don't do this. This isn't you. He's like, I understand that you're upset about your brother, but, you can't just go out and do this. And Kimiko sign languages him, and he doesn't understand. And then he's like, well, you know what? He's like, screw you, and screw you. I'm out of here. He's like, you won't teach me, so I don't understand what you're trying to say. And he leaves. And it's really kind of a good scene for them, because he's trying to help her. He's trying to learn how to communicate with her, better, and because she doesn't speak anymore. So him finding out that she's literally running around killing people because she feels bad that her, she got her brother killed, and she didn't. That wasn't even her fault. So it's a really good little arc with them, too. I really like how they're progressing them, and I really want to see where it's going. But then we cut to Mother's Milk and Huey, who arrive at Butcher's aunt's place. And they start talking to Butcher about how Liberty and Storm are the same person, and they need his help. And Butcher is like, no. He's like, I told you guys, I'm early retirement. I'm getting out of here. You guys shouldn't have come. So he goes out and gets in his truck, and he's about to leave when he sees Black Noir watching him from a rooftop across the street. So he comes in, and he's like, Black Noir's out there. He's after me. And Mother's Milk and Huey are like, wow, we didn't get followed, so, we were real careful. And Butcher was like, no, he's there for me, like I said. And he's like, we got to figure out what to do. So Mother's Milk comes up with the idea of faking a gas leak. And he says, well, if he wants to kill us, he's got to do it with an audience. And Black Noir just sits there and watches. So they set up all these little, bombs to go off to stop Black Noir. And then the authorities leave, and they end up going down to Aunt Judy's basement, where she has a little room that they hide in, because she's a successful drug dealer. So they're waiting in the safe room for Black Noir to come through. And then we cut to Stormfront talking to Starlight's mother. And Starlight sees this and is like, wait, what? So she goes over and she's like, what are you doing, Mom? Why are you even here? And she's like, well, I missed you. I wanted to see you. And, I've been trying to get a hold of you because I'm in town for the week. And Starlight's like, well, I didn't want to talk to you. And Stormfront's like, well, no, look, everybody's upset about that, and now it's out in the open. And, you can talk to your mom and everything about it. And she's trying to manipulate her into talking to her mom. And Starlight doesn't want to forgive her mom for lying to her about Compound V and other stuff. So they go through, and Stormfront leaves, and Donna, Starlight's mom, sits next to her and says, look, I understand that you're upset, but I really want us to get along together. She's like, I want you to forgive me. And Starlight's, this is not the time or the place. So they go and Starlight walks away, basically. Then we go to this scene where Maeve and her girlfriend Elena are talking to Ashley and a pair of marketing consultants to discuss how they'll be branded in the future. And they come up with a picture of Maeve waving a rainbow flag, and they suggest a makeover for Elena to be in like menswear, like a suit. And Elena is like, no, that's menswear. I'm not going to, dress up like that. And they're like, well, the public is more secure with a cut and dry gender role for lesbians. And Elena is like, well, Maeve is bi. And they're like, yeah, we know, but, we're just going to stick with the lesbian angle because the public will react to that better. And Elena just gets up and walks away, because she's like, I'm not having this. I'm not having a public relationship. And Maeve goes after her and says, look, if you don't do this, your life is in danger, because Homelander has set all this up and he will kill you if you don't go along with it. She's like, I can't protect you if you leave. So Elena is like, what are we going to do? And Maeve's like, well, we're going to take Homelander down, and we just need to figure out how. And then we cut to Stormfront sitting down across from A-Train. So he was watching a video of the Church of the Collective, and this is where we learn a little more about Stormfront. And Stormfront tells him she used to be a part of the church when it was more pure. And then they started letting everybody in. And she's like, you know what I mean? And he's like, no, I don't know what you mean. But he does, because she's basically, like, she's not really subtle about it. She's being racist. And she's like, no, you know exactly what I mean. And, then she basically gets up and leaves, and A-Train goes and talks to Ashley and says he doesn't want to do the script the way it is. He wants to have it changed, and she says you got one of two choices. You either leave with your dignity and your severance package, or you get ratted out as basically taking Compound V to stay faster than everybody else, and how you had a heart attack while doing it. So A-Train ends up delivering his lines to Homelander, but Homelander isn't there. It's a stunt double who's basically filling in for him, and he ends up leaving the 7 after that. And then we cut to Congresswoman Newman talking in front of a huge crowd about Homelander being a war criminal. About especially about the video that came out where he killed an innocent person while killing a terrorist, and how that the Supes are abusing their powers. So she's getting the crowd all riled up, and then Homelander flies in and asks for the mic, so she's scared and hands it to him. And then he starts addressing the crowd about how nobody wants innocent people to get hurt, but unfortunately, the bad guys don't think like them. So he's not apologetic about what he did. He's just trying to justify it by saying that the terrorist hid behind innocent people and an innocent person died. And the crowd's, and he's talking about how, everybody there should understand, and the crowd is chanting that, he doesn't speak for them. And then all of a sudden you see him get really angry and just laser beam everybody in the crowd. And I was, I'm telling you right now, I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, he just killed a whole bunch of people in front of a camera. I'm like, wow. I was so amazed. It was awesome. That scene was absolutely amazing how they did it. And then then you turn around and it's all in his head. It's like a dream sequence where he's getting angry, but then he calms down and he says, you know what? You're right. You guys are the real heroes. And then he flies off. I was just like, I was dumbfounded and amazed. I loved that scene. That scene was beautiful because I really thought Homelander killed all those people, and I was like, wow, this is absolutely crazy. And then then we cut back to Butcher and Mother's Milk and Huey at his aunt's house, and the emergency services all leave, because they didn't find any gas leak. And by this time, everything's all set up, and Black Noir goes into the house and sets off all the traps that they laid for him. And then he throws a grenade down this vent, and they all have to. It's a smoke bomb. They all have to get out of there. And Butcher and Black Noir start fighting. Mother's Milk bursts in, shoots Black Noir. Black Noir hits him with a knife, drops him on the ground. Huey comes in shooting as well. He throws Huey on the ground, and Butcher says, you know what, you're here for me. You're not here for them. Don't lay a hand on them. If you do, then your career is over with. So Black Noir just grabs him by the, grabs him, and he starts telling him about how he has pictures of Homelander's son. And if anything happens to Huey and them, it's all going to get leaked out of the cloud to Ronan Farrow, who's an investigative journalist. So Black Noir, literally picks him up by his neck and then gets a phone call from Edgar, the CEO of VALHARTV, and he wants to talk to Butcher. So Butcher and him are talking on the phone. He's like, how do we know you have these pictures? And he's like, roll the dice. He's like, you don't, so roll the dice. So Edgar is like, well, I'll make you a one-time deal. Those pictures never see the light of day, and I'll call off Black Noir. So Butcher agrees, and Black Noir, leaves. And, which is a great scene. I think they're setting up something with Black Noir and the boys, which is going to be, I think, really awesome. And, then we get, the after scene where Billy and Mother's Milk and Huey all say goodbye to his aunt, and they leave together to go back and figure out the situation that's going on with Stormfront and everything else, and see if they can get their lives back in order. And then we cut to a scene where Homelander is in this tunnel, and he's super embarrassed about how the rally went when he went to confront the congresswoman, and every so he's freaking out basically, and he's just running back and forth looking at the video, and then he goes, and then he walks off. Because he's basically, he doesn't know what to do, so he walks off and is going to go seek help, basically. And then we cut back to the Deep, who's handing out books of the Church of the Collective to it looks like a bunch of homeless people. And one of the homeless ladies who comes up says, "I thought there was going to be food," and he's like, "Oh no, this is food for your soul." So she takes the book and is like, "What the heck, I want food." And then Maeve shows up and is like, "Hey, can we talk?" She's like, "Look, I still think you're a piece of crap, but you need help getting your reputation back. So if you help me, I'll help you." And the Deep's like, "Oh, okay." So really, Maeve is getting ready to recruit people to help her take Homelander down for what he's doing to her and her girlfriend. So that's going to be really interesting where that goes, especially with the Deep. And then we go to Starlight sneaking into Stormfront's trailer. Now she goes in, she starts looking around, and then sees a computer. So she types in a password, and it doesn't work. So she starts looking around a little more, and then figures out that the password is Adele. And then she sees a whole bunch of emails from Sage Grove Center, and that's where Stormfront comes in and is like, "Hey, what are you doing in my trailer?" And Starlight is like, "Listen, I don't want you talking to my mother. I don't want to forgive her. She lied about not only Compound V, but everything else." And she's like, "There's going to be no peace between us." So Stormfront is like, "Wow, that's really good." She's like, "What would Vought do if I told them you're the one who leaked Compound V?" And Starlight just is like, "What would the world do if I told them you were Liberty?" And that's when, Stormfront, she just laughs and says, "Oh, you're going to be a big help to me soon." And Starlight's like, "What?" And then they get interrupted by Homelander. And Homelander starts boasting about... okay, yeah, let me rewind a little bit. So Homelander goes and does talk to Stormfront about his reputation and asks her for help. So she starts showing him memes and stuff about everything that's happened in the video and about him. And she says that when you see these memes on your uncle's Facebook, then you know it's working, and so they help boost his reputation again, and he goes up by 5 points. So this is where he comes in and interrupts Starlight and Stormfront when they're talking in Stormfront's trailer. And he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I'm up 5 points," and he's like, "I owe you one," and she's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do to pay me back?" And that's basically where it ends for everything. And then they go into the Vought Tower and they start just beating each other up, Stormfront and Homelander. And Stormfront is like, "I want you to laser me." She's like, "Right here in the chest," and he's like, "But I'll cut you in half." And she's like, "Do it." So he does. He literally lasers her chest, and she stands there and takes it. And she's like, "Oh, it hurts, but don't stop." And then they just they literally beat each other up and have sex during it. Super weird sex scene in a TV show that I've ever seen. So I thought it was kind of funny because I'm like, wow, they're showing their really sadistic side and how they like to torture people, and it gets them off. So I was like, wow, okay. But dude, this whole episode was absolutely amazing. You had really Homelander was on a downward spiral for this whole season, and then you see him kind of bounce back by going to Stormfront and asking for help. And Stormfront, she's going around and she's manipulating everybody and getting more and more control over the Seven. And then you've got Billy and the boys who were definitely on a downward spiral as well. They were going through losing control of each other. Like they don't know where Kimiko or Frenchie are, and they were trying to get Butcher back to help them get everybody back together. And finally, at the end, they do. So they're kind of on a pick me up as well. So I really can't wait to see where everything is going with this season. So far, like I said before, this is the best episode that they've had. This is definitely 9 out of 10. Really, I mean, for the simple fact that I thought Homelander killed a whole bunch of people in a crowd protesting. I thought that scene was absolutely amazing again. That was really great. So those are my thoughts on the episode. Please stay tuned for more video reviews on this, and you guys take care for now.